Decker is transitioning from the AOBRD device to the ELD system. Now, we have been grandfathered in with the electronic logs AOBRD device, and therefore we are not required by DOT mandate to be transferred over into the ELD system until December of 2019. However, here at Decker, we are transitioning by June 1st so that the December 2019 transition is smooth. We're going to talk about a couple of the things that you need to know and how it will affect you when you're transitioning from the AOBRD device to the ELD. You will need to know that you are using an ELD unit, and you need to know how to use the device. The officer is going to ask you to view your logs, and before you can do that, you must first certify your logs before you can go into the inspector mode. Once you're in the inspector mode, you can then email your logs to the email address that the officer provides. They will then be able to access it through email. You will need to show the officer the user manual, which will have the IVG card in the back of our user manual, the permit book, and in the training section, as well as the 8-day paper logs, which again are in the back of your permit book. If and only if and when the ELD system does malfunction, can you transition into the 8-day paper logs. Now, if the ELD system does malfunction, you need to first notify the safety department, which is extension 8533. Notify them first, and it must be done within the first 24 hours of the malfunction. And at that point, they can help you troubleshoot and determine if yes, it is a true malfunction and we need to get you on the paper logs, or if we can get the system up and running without having to get you on paper logs. If the ELD stops working altogether, that's when you use the paper logs, but not before. If the ELD system is not working properly, then at that point, you've already contacted the safety department at extension 8533. They've determined that let's just troubleshoot, and so they will have you turn off the program, turn off Omnitracs, and then you're going to reboot everything. Now, in order to reboot it, we ask that you don't reboot it while using your APU unit, but instead turn the truck on, or at least onto the auxiliary position, so that it has enough wattage to reboot properly and determine if the ELD system is truly malfunctioning or if it just needed to be rebooted. Driving time cannot be edited by anyone, and that's going to include both personal conveyance as well as yard movement. Make sure that you complete your break completely before moving the truck. Seconds count. If you start moving the truck before your break is complete, then you're going to have to redo the whole break. So wait 1 minute after you've finished your break before moving the truck. Unassigned vehicle activity usually happens if you're at the terminal or at the shop, if you're doing slip seating, team driving, or you're with a trainer. If you notice that your logs are not reflecting your drive time, then log out and log back in and accept the time. If you're refusing the unassigned drive time, then you then need to make the comments to address why you are not accepting that. Otherwise, it will just be assigned to you. You must certify your logs every 24 hours. They must be certified every single day. You don't have to log out every day as an over-the-road driver, but you do need to certify them every 24 hours. As a local driver, a dedicated driver, someone who might be slip seating, then yes, you will want to log out every day as well as certify your logs every day. If you are a team driver or a trainer or a trainee, then yes, you will need to not only certify your logs every day, but also log in and out. Be aware of what you are certifying or what you are agreeing to every time you certify your logs, because once they are certified, you cannot edit them. Certify your logs every time you go into a shop or a terminal, because if a technician drives your truck, that drive time cannot be removed from your clock if you did not log out. Always select active driver, even if it's already selected. Double check by selecting it. Be sure to use the proper alphanumeric combinations when entering in the information. Your logs will always be on Central Standard Time because our corporate office is in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Central Time. The unit may ask for the load information even if it already had that information in it. If you don't have a load, NA is an acceptable answer, but something must be annotated within each comment section. Always make sure the load information is in the ELD system. Don't assume that it's automatically going to be transferred. All duty statuses must have an annotation. Personal conveyance is limited to 30 minutes or 25 miles and within a 24-hour period and cannot be used for anything other than personal use. The engine must be on, the parking brake released, and entered PC in the comments to work. Yard movement does affect your clock. It's an on-duty status. So it affects your 14-hour, but it doesn't necessarily affect your drive time. It is for private property use only and not truck stops or public use areas. Beginning of trip usage. If your truck reaches 5 miles per hour, it will automatically activate the driveline. Once you've stopped, the status will continue to be on duty. After you've been sitting for 5 minutes on duty status, it'll have a warning sign pop up and it'll ask you if you are still on duty. If you don't answer within that minute, at the 6-minute mark, it will then continue to keep you on duty status. If you are not on duty, you will then need to edit and of course make a comment annotating what you were doing during that time. Always check your logs at the beginning of the day when you get in and out of your truck. You may be coming off a home time and forgot to take yourself off of on-duty status. If you don't check your logs and you certify yourself as being on duty during those 3 days at home, you cannot edit them. In order to continue, you will have to first edit that time period, and if it asks for a load, again, you can put NA, that is acceptable if you are not currently under a load, and put home time. And then once you've certified those time periods, at that point, once you've edited those time periods, then at that point you can go back and edit the time when you went off duty, double check everything, and then certify your logs. Remember, be patient and always double check your logs. Learn to use the system and make it work for your schedule.